Hello, everyone, and welcome to ZSR2. Today we've got another Look at the Past, No Major Glitches League Season 2, Round 2 here. We've got a Dark World matchup and Light World matchup. Matt versus Spleebie and Coinshaker versus PH. We've got ourselves Chex, Human, and Clearmouse, and Comms, take it away.
Yo, good evening, Chucks. How's it going?
Hello, Clearmouse.
Yeah.
It's going well. We have another NMG League race ahead of us. And who do we have today?
Actually, yeah. So we actually have two NMG races. We are actually very fortunate to be in a position to actually watch four simultaneous racers. Matt7898 taking on Spleebie in the Dark World division, and we have Coin Chaser taking on PH in the Light World division. Of course, the benefit of this being NMG means that there is no seeding. You have to generate each separate ROM for somebody else. The game is going to be the exact same for all four people involved, and we get to basically see four people go at it.
That's right. So on top we have Matt7898 versus Matt is versus Spleebie on the lower left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and right. So how I guess this is part of NMG League. We also have Coin Chaser facing off against PH. They are actually split into two divisions: a Dark World and Light World. Dark World is, well, arguably the more fun half of the world, maybe, of the run, but it is certainly with probably some of the more faster runners in this division. Matt, of course, out of the four has the fastest PB, is actually, in fact, a 124 runner with a PB of 124.58. Meanwhile, in the light world, also very competitive times, certainly just probably not, the, I would say, like absolute, 123, 124 level. We've got Coin Chaser taking on PH. Every single runner, by the way, has a sub 130 PB. So actually, this is going to be quite the, quite the four-way race we're going to be able to see.
Yeah, this will be great. So our runners are off. They receive a telepathic message from Zelda, who is trapped in Hyrule Castle. So now we are going to see who will rescue her the fastest.
Mm-hmm.
Because escape is the most important segment.
Yeah. Escape certainly is one of the. It is certainly actually surprisingly challenging, right? So if you play this game maybe a bit more casually, escape, as the beginning of the game, you get to do a lot more. Well, maybe in this particular case, in the rain state, a little bit more limited exploration. But for the most part, the enemies aren't going to be too bad. You have lots of safeties, kind of like going around different parts of the castle. Got some pots here, got some hearts. Basically, if you need to kind of get through this gate casually, should actually be a pretty reasonable time. However, if you want to get through the castle and escape in the fastest way possible, it would actually take quite a bit of practice.
It takes practice, and the RNG is difficult and more. I mean, it's a little trickier than the kind of. Well, I don't know how to compare it, but we don't have boots for this segment. And Link oftentimes just ends up walking into enemies.
Yeah. Although, Chex, are you telling me that we get boots in this game?
In this game?
Oh
yes.
my gosh, I'm so excited. I cannot wait. Man, how long do I have to wait, by the way, for Chex?
About 11 minutes.
11? Okay, well, we're just gonna make the best of what we have here in Escape. I would actually say, though, so yeah, we're actually gonna see four runners basically taking on a lot of the RNG. I think actually kind of for the benefit, just because the range of, in this case, PBs, or just maybe gonna have like their based on like those different players' experiences, we are actually going to potentially see some different strategies that people are going to end up taking on some of the probably the more challenging areas. We are actually going to come up very soon to the quote-unquote final or hardest boss, probably in the light world, which is the ball and chain guard. There are definitely going to be some strategies, potentially for like Matt and Spleebie, maybe going for multiple sword splashes versus maybe picking up a pot or two. That are going to be a little bit slower, but definitely significantly safer.
That's right. It is the most powerful or the most damaging enemy in this segment, with dealing a full heart of damage. So our runners can't be careless, that's for sure.
Right, right. And even though sometimes runners, especially of a very, very high skill level or caliber, they make things look very easy, but it often is just comes down to, I would say, quite a bit of practice. Actually, looks like Coin Chaser, Matt, and Spleebie all going for the 8 slash in and PH. Wow, everyone is. Everyone is gaming. You actually see in this case PH actually taking, showing us that yes, as you mentioned, checks the ball and chain guard does 1 full heart of damage per hit.
Right, but fairly solid from all runners.
Yeah, and what kind of I think all 4 runners demonstrated pretty well in terms of just technique. In order to basically kill the guard the fastest, you kind of want to be able to hit him with the sword at not necessarily like a rhythm, but you want to get him to a point where you don't hear a lot of like sword clinks, right? You don't actually want the guard to either like fight back. You kind of want to be able to swing it at him with the closest distance possible. And that the fact that we didn't hear a lot of clinks, we basically saw a very cleanly manipulated ball and chain guard just means that these have definitely put in the time. And also have kind of like be able to read some of the RNG for the enemies.
Okay, so just an example of just how getting past enemies is difficult. Matt had to react and throw a boomerang at an incoming guard, and the boomerang just didn't come out in time. And it just the enemy walked into Matt.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes you just can't control in this case, right? As you said, even if you've played this game lots of times, kind of be able to see all the different variations of what the green guard can do to you, sometimes it still just gets in your way. And escape, as you said, without the boots, without any type of really any other type of weapon kind of besides like the boomerang or the sword doesn't really kind of give you a lot of options in terms of trying to avoid enemies or basically going fast, right? We would ideally like to just be able to, well, move or pump in this case, in some cases, unimpeded, right? Every single time you have to kind of like adjust your movement, adjust your position, slash an enemy, throw the boomerang even at an enemy. All this stuff kind of takes you, kind of off your rhythm and just takes a little bit of extra time, right? This time that we don't, in this case, want to afford to use.
Yeah, PH backed away a bit. We saw everyone go through the snake hellway, fairly well centered in the middle. PH backed off a little bit, but could have continued with a second boomerang slash, or a boomerang throw.
Man, these boomerangs have grown teeth. I did not know
yes.
that. Definitely got an upgrade from what we're used to.
Secret boomerang.
Yeah, this is yeah. So in this case, you didn't know there were 3 boomerangs. There's like the original boomerang. There's like the red magical boomerang, and then there's the boomerang with sparkles and teeth. Smiles at you while it basically tears you to shreds.
Scary.
Yeah. All right. With that, it looks like actually most people are actually getting through with a sub 6 escape. Certainly something that is, especially, anytime you're getting a under 6-minute escape, quite content, means that nothing has gone pretty drastically wrong. Of course, your standards will vary from runner to runner, especially if your PB is getting faster and faster.
Runners are picking up Sanctuary Heart as part of Link's outfit. It is just standard equipment.
Yeah, I absolutely like that. It's basically the only heart you're willing to wear on your sleeve, right? This is where, even at the very beginning of the game, we actually see Link's true and noblest of intentions is to not die, among other things, of course.
That's true, and our runners are now holding down, walking to Eastern Palace.
That's right. Sometimes I actually wonder, Jackson. Maybe you can also shed some perspective on this. Are parts of your D-pad, like certain cardinal directions, just more worn out than others? Because sometimes in this case, you're holding right, you're holding down, right? Maybe versus like pumping. For some, you're kind of already furiously tapping on some of the other directions. So they tend to be like differently worn out or like used.
I have not experienced that myself, but so others may have a different answer. So it's a pretty dangerous overworld. We have Octoroks dealing a whole heart of damage, but no one gets too beat up, although Spleebie has half his health remaining.
Yeah, part of the reason why, of course, that as you mentioned, this Eastern Palace overworld, again, if you're playing this game casually, you don't have to be, let's say, as aggressive in your approach in order to take on the extremely dangerous overworld. You can basically take a lot of detours. However, in this case, because we have a very limited amount of time that we would like to be able to spend on the overworld, it tend to take a bit more risk, and as such, we can actually get hit a lot more. And part of the reason why we keep Sankart around is so we don't end up taking an unfortunate death. In a PB attempt, or just maybe a casual run, may not be as big a deal, because you can always have that reset button. In a race setting, that is less of a viable option.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, we're looping around Eastern Palace. It is standard, pretty much, to get the pot with a arrow in it. In the big chest room, everyone goes for it.
Yeah. So right, I think you in theory can skip them, right? Checks or something like that, and just hope for an arrow drop later.
Correct.
Yeah, but I believe it's if you're hoping things for a drop, and no matter how favorable the probability could be, it's hard to argue with a very consistent 100% 5 arrows in that pot.
Oh, I missed a red rupee for Matt.
Oh yes, how did we get so rich on Matt's side? Oh, Matt though.
Oh, no!
Oh my gosh.
This is not good.
Oh no, this is not what you want to see. The money is not going to console Matt in any way. We are actually seeing some potentially new content here. Matt unfortunately missed the damage boost, a quick switch hit in the middle of the big key, or in the big key chest of Eastern Palace. Oof. And we're actually going to see, in this case, Matt having to kill all the enemies as the developers intended in order to hit that switch and make the anti-fairies dissipate. Oh my, Matt!
Wow.
No. Oh no.
That's incredible how dangerous that was and how time-consuming it was, unfortunately.
Yeah, talk about potential and dangerous things. We're actually seeing Coin Chaser as well. Unfortunately, all the Salfo's heads almost got the better of him trying to enter in the big key in the room in the back. Those Salfo's heads also do quite a bit of damage. It is not something that you want to experience. Actually, and as a note, in terms of safety, you can actually drop down to those big hearts and get some fairies. Do not drop down with those Salfo's heads floating, because you will get hit and you will take damage, potentially even before you're able to fully drop in and get healed.
Yeah, I saw Coin Chaser hesitate before the big key, so I kind of wondered whether there was some sort of input issue.
Oh, that's actually a good
I don't
question.
know.
Yeah, I don't think I ended up noticing anything. All right.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, so Matt at least got a heart drop from, what was it, the Stalfos, that at least put him out of one hit KO range. So it's kind of up to him at this point to just kind of shake off, in this case, the potential minor disaster we had in the middle of the big key room of Eastern Palace, and basically just play the rest of his game. Because you said something about boots at around the 11-minute mark checks. Is that what we're getting here?
Yes. That is what we're doing, as a matter of fact.
Yes. All right, we have gone through the hardships of no boots gameplay. We are finally, and actually looks like it's a race now, at least in the lead between PH and Spleebie. Who is going to be able to mash through these text boxes fastest? And looks like Spleebie is our winner, going to be able to dash out of the hospital the first. Now, even though I would say that Matt is probably not losing that much time, right? It could certainly feel that way, that it was probably more mental loss than probably just actual physical time loss.
Matt also gained some enemy drops in that room, which
yeah,
was
that's true.
a pretty funny observation by Malmo, whether he would see the Eastern Bomb. I don't think we saw it, but he definitely advanced the prize pack.
That's actually true, yeah. Speaking of drops, though, we actually see our runners are exceedingly rich, like every single one. I mean, in fact, you see Spleebie here with the lowest rupee count out of the 4 with the whole 13. That is not commonly seen. We actually have Coin Chaser here in the league with 39. Where did these I don't know. This must have been like a vault or something in Easter because we had a lot of rupees basically being picked up.
And Matt had a lot of chances to. I mean, Matt was rich before going to the big T, but
that's true.
Definitely had more opportunities to pick up rupees.
Yeah, that is certainly true. I guess also maybe to some extent Coin Chaser did as well. Had a little bit more, I guess, enemy excitement. But we are in this case seeing the strong power of the boots, basically being able to dash in the overworld, trying to make these dashes in this case as clean as possible. We certainly, at least even for the overworld going towards desert, we should see that the dash lines are trying to be lined up where we're not running in the water, we're also not running kind of in the tall grass. Every single one of these environmental hazards tend to slow us down, and that, I mean, we just got the boots, we want to be able to go as fast as possible.
Yeah, and Desert is a palace built for going fast because it has wide open halls. We have to go back and forth. And regardless, our runners know how to play the game, but still, we can tell that it's built that way.
Oh yeah, and this is part of the nice things about game design, especially here, at least in the light world so far. Is that every single time you end up getting a weapon or an item or something, you know, something I would say major, either the very current dungeon or kind of like the next portion, the near future stuff of the next part of the game really kind of showcases like the power of that item, even in some combination of, as you just mentioned, Jax, these super long nice hallways we can just basically dash. To some extent, I would almost say that it's also counter to Eastern Palace, or as a nice contrast. We also did see a good number of longer hallways. Kind of makes you just appreciate and saying like, man, if there's only a way that we can get up, we can actually move a little bit faster, right? It makes you kind of better appreciate the boots.
Definitely. Alright, Cannonball. So, this is a room with RNG. Matt reacts nicely with a quick pause and a delay before dashing down.
Yeah, I think that's actually a very nice subtlety that you just kind of pointed out on Matt's side, especially I think when people kind of first start, you know, playing the game casually, trying to speedrun it, going as fast as possible, whether intended or not. You always just want to try and dash at the very beginning, you know, at the very first moment possible. And sometimes, in order to go the fastest, you actually have to take a little bit of a pause just so you can time things right. I think it's actually part of a very nice touch in this case.
It looked like, just to be safe, Spleebie, who, by the way, check the map to see where the Master Sword is located in the Lost Woods.
That's good. Also where the other pendant is. That's also very important to know.
That's true. Spleebie picked up the pot in the Circle of Pots room to make sure he has enough for Tree Rupees and for Kiki.
Yeah, looks like it. And in terms of arrow counts, actually, yeah, we're talking actually about being rich, not only in terms of money and resources, but also very healthy quiver for all runners involved. Matt actually has a very nice 30 arrows. It looks like at least Spleebie and Pointer are tied for 27. Plenty of ammunition going into the Lamos boss fight here in Desert Palace.
Are our runners going to use the bow against this boss?
You know, so they're right now currently on the lamp, but I'm gonna see if this is what choice of weaponry we actually have. Well, it looks like Spleebie is actually taking on Landmolus with the bow. Maybe PH is gonna follow up very shortly, and it's going to be a beautiful staggered screens for this particular boss fight.
Spleebie took down a worm in phase 2, which was nice.
Oh yeah,
that was a solid. It looked like 4 cycle.
4 cycle. Okay.
3 or 4.
Yeah. So you know, we actually caught a very often see most people have some version of a quick kill Armos, right? Whether it's kind of like more the traditional setup you see, maybe it's like Yuzo Armos strats. It's more or less, let's say, like quote unquote scripted, right? Land Molus is probably one of the first boss that you're going to see that the first phase is technically still fixed. There's just a lot of combinations, kind of everything else though you end up kind of reacting to. And this fight also takes a lot of good practice, but when done well, it's certainly very, very elegant.
All right, and we've got a couple things going on here. We'll see how our runners dash through the desert. They like, so both Coin and PH went for a dash at the beak of the monster drawing in the sand.
I don't even think I even noticed that. I think that's the first time I've actually heard somebody refer to that as a beak.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but yeah, I call it a beak. And Matt as well. Matt is a boomerang gamer. Actually, 3 of our runners switched to boomerang.
Yeah. I'm not actually sure how common this strat is, but it actually is still pretty cool to see. I didn't actually think it was probably more common than not using the boomerang here, but it certainly has been more popular in recent times.
Yeah, it's something I switched to without timing how my performance improved or didn't improve, but it is a fun and it feels safe. You can deal with the pickles, the dead rocks.
Yeah,
get things out of the way.
Yeah, and especially for a, let's say, like a race setting, even necessarily, it could be just a regular PB run as well. Any type of mental comfort, right? I think can actually go quite a long ways in order for you to continue run. Especially in this case, we're almost 20 minutes into the run. We still have a lot of game left to play.
Any mental comfort you can get out of Hera, which is the most dangerous, obnoxious segment.
We're kind of actually seeing the consequence, kind of like on Spleebie and Coin Chaser's side, just how dangerous this overworld is. PH somehow magically didn't take any damage, and I mean it's really great that he didn't, but it is certainly not the norm. Looks like Matt's actually gonna. Oh no!
I can't believe this.
Yeah, he did such a good job waiting for the dead rock, trying to avoid the traffic, and then he just got bulldozed over.
Yeah.
Okay, but at least for the most part, everyone has made it into the quote-unquote solace of Hera. The good news is that we can't. If we die, we don't have to start all over in the overworld. Of course, the bad news is that if we end up dying here, at least try to die early. Because the higher up you go, and Moldrum can be a giant jerk, along with basically every other room before him, it can certainly be, quite the setback.
All right, off to the tile room. We've got, guess what? Hot spin speed from Spleebie.
Oh, nice. Always really great to see. And so this is kind of where I feel like, even though it is a speed run of the game, especially, how optimized this run is, just because it has been worked on by so many people across so much time, it is really cool to see that runners can actually get a little bit more creativity with how they end up kind of going through tile room.
And Matt, I'm not sure what he normally does, but it looks like he dashes through it nice.
Yeah. I think he actually kind of prefers maybe just to stand in a corner and... some people just kind of like to chill there, right? Kind of gather their thoughts, mentally prepare themselves. That is, of course, the rest of the tower climb and the dark roll ahead. And some people, probably just like Spleebie, right, get to maybe take off a little bit more of that excess energy, right, and be able to run at speed.
Yeah.
Alright, looks like the PH is gonna actually be the first of our runners trying to get the coveted Moon Pearl out of the Hera Big Chest. We're actually potentially gonna see some different strategies here for how to get over. It is gonna be some version of a bomb jump. PH probably does a more common one, lines himself up. I certainly would expect probably at least an early bomb jump on Matt's side. Spleebie, of course, does need to be a bit careful. He is on half a heart. Did he hit the switch, by the way?
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, nice bomb jump.
Oh, no.
Well, Matt had a good early bomb jump, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. So it certainly does save a good amount of time. Certainly also can be a little dangerous. He did get a nice arrow drop as well from the Kadangos. Oh, Spleebie though. So this is okay. So he did hit the switch.
wow.
That is a very good foresight on Spleebie's part. I'm not sure if this is a race safety measure that he takes because
I bet so. Yeah.
Yeah. But going into Moldorm on anything fewer than, let's say, 2 hearts is a bit shaky.
All right, so we've got Moldorm, a frenetic boss, tough to judge when it's gonna charge at you. Moldorm is down for Spleebie and Coin.
Yeah, looks like at least a no
ph.
major disaster and ph. Yeah, Matt of course is taking on Moldorm as the final of our. Oh, see, this is exactly why you don't want to go into Moldorm with fewer than 2 hearts. As sometimes you end up getting frame roll, sometimes he just hits you first, and this is not one of those situations where you would really. Again, the higher the tower you climb, the less you want to die. But really good job on Matt to be able to take down Moldorm. This is why we pick up Sankar too, right? You definitely like that extra heart.
If the light world is this dangerous, I'm very nervous about Dark World.
Well, the good news maybe is that what you can't see can't hurt you, because it is pretty dark here in the Dark World. So we'll just pretend that everything is a big dream, a big.
I'm going to close my eyes.
Yeah, pretend we don't have the lamp checks. That probably is like the best option. Alright, so looks like PH is actually the first of our 4 runners already at the pedestal. You know, Spleebie was, again, as you mentioned, and pointed
Very
out
nice.
earlier checks, yeah, that Spleebie actually did tell us where the Master Sword is in the Lost Woods. So that's why, you know, PH maybe is even watching the restream or watching Spleebie's stream, you know, took that knowledge to heart and decided to just beeline it straight over to the pedestal.
And PH is not only the first to get to the Master Sword, but also is ahead of his own PB pace by
that's
22
actually,
seconds.
Yeah, that's right. We can actually see PH running against his, looks like, personal splits. So actually really cool to see. Hopefully he can kind of keep up this momentum and carry himself through Aga Tower and the Dark Worlds. Alright, so speaking of those, so we also did see all of our runners basically swimming in money. We are actually now, just because of how greedy we all are, we want more money because I guess you can never have enough. We are trying to get the money that literally grows on trees. Whether that mushroom pickup was intentional, looks like maybe it was. Gonna have Point Chaser, right, pick up an extra safety. We are going to try and not get hit, pull the trees, and kill 4 enemies. Not in that order, but but basically in this case we want at least, what, 104? At least according to PH?
Yeah, and PH smartly picked up 3 rupees, and so did Coin. Because they only needed 60.
Just because they were so wealthy. Yeah.
Yep. All right, we've got Aga Tower coming up. Series of combat rooms. Sort of an early gauntlet.
Yeah, it's actually, you know, we actually talk about kind of Ganon's Tower, the final dungeon of the game, kind of a combination of puzzle solving and execution, right? Especially the more puzzle solving aspects is in the basement. You gotta go find yourself a bunch of keys. So you got the big key, and then once you get everything that you need, you can basically climb for a pure execution. And I think Aga Tower is actually a very good example of the latter, as you mentioned. Just
right.
All right, we have 1 room, 1 entry door, 1 exit door. You got to get through this as fast and clean as you possibly can.
The weird thing about Aga Tower's puzzle solving is it has push block puzzles to go reverse.
Oh, back! Right, yeah.
This doesn't really make sense.
That's true. I guess maybe that's a sign that maybe says that if you are actually pushing these blocks, you're doing something wrong. Right, and I believe all of our runners ended up going into Aga Tower with sword beams. We actually see that not only, of course, are they useful in order to try and get through the rooms a bit faster, right? We got a little bit of a ranged artillery in order to snipe our enemies from afar, but also we can actually preserve some prize packs. We would like to be able to keep a potential fairy that we would like to basically get in Turtle Rock much later. I would also like to point out that Matt did get the most important chest turn of the game in the Dark Maze. Always cool to see that one.
Faces to the right so that the light cone shines on the enemies so he can judge RNG.
That's right, yeah.
Something I learned like last week.
This is why Matt is a 124 runner. He is here to
indeed.
help us with all these little tips.
And Matt going up the tower with beams, which is pretty nice.
Oh, that's
nice,
such a nice room.
Red alert. Or, not red alert. The one, I don't know how you call that one.
Yeah, I don't know either, but what Matt basically did with the arrows and the shield to be able to use it multiple times to block the spears is really cool to see. You usually only kind of get to see
double
that.
spears.
Yeah, oh yeah, you only kind of get to see that, in front of Swamp maybe for the nice clink. Every once in a while you get this quote-unquote nice / unfortunate, not great RNG where the Moblin throws a spear at you, but it's really cool to see in that room.
Here's a puzzle. How to get Zelda. How to get to Aghanim after he phases through the curtain. We do have to slash.
Yes, this actually stumped me as a kid for quite some time. Yeah, I did not realize that you in fact did have a sword and swords can cut curtains. Because I mean, you're taught to be well behaved, right? I mean, if your mom or your parents saw that you had some sort of scissors and you were going near the curtains, I think you would definitely get a talking to immediately.
And A Link to the Past is the game that introduces breaking into people's homes and throwing all their pots onto the floor.
And no one seems to mind either. And also, by the way, even at the very beginning of the game, right? Your uncle, while we can't specifically read Japanese, he tells you, "Stay inside where you are. Don't follow me. It's safer inside." But we still don't listen to him and decide to go follow him anyway.
And we do have an RNG boss. I'm not counting tonight. We
have. It seems like we have a lot. That's what it seems like.
It does. Now that was just judging from PH's splits, we had a gold tower climb from him, which is
that's
nice
really great.
Sub split to see.
Even when you see. So having a race situation, you kind of just want to, sometimes maybe you adjust your strat to be a bit, let's say, more conservative, a bit more consistent. It is always really cool to be able to see a gold split in a race setting.
Yeah, it seems like Matt is having the worst luck so far, but
so
I might
far,
be misjudging.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, and
yeah, this is not good.
So Chex, do you remember when you, I believe, set the record last year in the NMG tournament with 11 blue balls? Maybe it's 12.
Kind of do remember. Yes.
Yeah, I know you block it out. I know it's a very painful memory. You probably blocked it out already.
Yeah.
So last week when Matt was racing versus Fox, I believe he had 10 blue balls. Matt is not having a good blue ball league season.
Yeah, that is not common.
But at least Matt has made it through. It is not necessarily the best start into the Dark World, but it is going to be probably the comfiest in this specific situation.
Yeah, we'll have a nice, comfy Dark World.
Yeah, but I think as many runners have said, the Dark World is where the run is made. There is a lot of games. Dark World is a very, I would say, higher variance world, and there is certainly a lot of opportunities to basically claw back some of that time. Everyone kind of staggering in. PH seeming at least takes the lead going into Palace of Darkness. We kind of already saw him having exactly 110 rupees to pay off both Kiki to get him to follow you, and then I believe he also did some version of a Kiki dash to be able to get him just to the door just a little bit faster, where you also pay the rest of the cover fee in order to get into Pod. And of course, while
It's worth
none
the
of our
money.
yeah, oh yeah, and of course, while we didn't see this from any of the runners, which is really good, if you do in fact get hit by Kiki, you will unfortunately have to pay an extra 10 rupees again and go find him back in the covered area right before the palace. So costs a lot of time, costs a lot more money, and in PH's case, it actually can cost quite a bit more time just because we don't really have the funds in order to re-grab our monkey friend, quote unquote.
And Coin, I was quite impressed. Coin squeezed just past the Bari to get a quick hop and fall before the red fireball hit him. So Matt used a strat where he slashes twice and then hops. I think that's meant to be slash twice and quick hop, but I don't know if he got the quick hop.
Alright, so at least coming Palace of Darkness, one thing that we are very thankful for is, of course, to have the mirror in order to route Pod just a little bit nicer, can get out at some of the more time-consuming scenarios. But we are actually coming here with another time-saving technique. We are going to try and line ourselves up, double pixel perfect location, bomb jump our way over to the big chest, and then basically bypass an entire loop around in order to get to the dark maze and an extra key. Quite a bit of time saved, like something like 30-40 seconds.
Something like that, yeah. It took a few buffers for PH, but he got through. Spleebie gets through pretty quickly.
Yeah, it looks like Coin Chaser is also, he's happy with his first one, just gonna get also a few more lineups. Unfortunately, hopped just a little bit over faster. Yeah, got hit on the bomb ricochet. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, I've been there too, and that happens if your bomb placements are separated by too much time.
Oh, I
nice
see.
Bomb jump from Matt.
Yeah, that actually, Matt made up actually quite a bit of time actually. He didn't actually have to buffer once, and he actually was nice enough. The little mini Helmasaur was fortunate enough to drop him an extra heart, so he actually can save a little bit more time actually in this back room here, only picking up 1 heart. And he got a chest turn out of it too. So Matt is really gaming here in the world. Ooh, Spleebie getting through mimics with a very fortunate arrow drop too on the back. So he doesn't have to go and spend his time basically picking up a pot.
I didn't notice that was happening. That's good.
Yeah, Spleebie and PH, I'm staring at the bottom screen, actually both have the exact same number of bombs and arrows, versus Matt and Coin Chaser are actually, I would say, quite a bit healthier in terms of their quiver count. Very nice turtles room there on Spleebie's side. It was always great to see when the turtles both behave and you also execute quite well.
Right, we've got Helmasaur, a dangerous boss, and PH is looking pretty solid so far. Fireballs are RNG. We just don't want them.
Yeah, and PH is getting a little bit more, I would say, unlucky, like in that, just because so you can't control if Helmasaur decides to swing his tail versus give you fireballs, but the fireballs take up not only the amount of time for you have to wait basically for these fireballs to, explode and disperse, so you have to avoid them, but then also it just takes up so much time, it's more dangerous. Right.
And Spleebie's out.
Yeah, it looks like actually, I would like to say that all 4 runners started to activate Spin Speed, and so to be able to activate Spin Speed, or at least rearm it, it can offset the hammer's hitbox, such that you're not always basically stuck with a very unpredictable and, well, I would say fairly smaller hitbox. Basically lets you do 10% damage with a much wider range, which makes Helmasaur much, much safer and much more consistent.
And quick shout out to the brief period of time where some gamers did a strat involving a sword out hammer dash to get 4 hits on Helma. It extended the hammer hitbox, but not as nicely as the spin speed method.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so so PH and Spleebie, the first ones to kind of run out of pod and onto, in this case, we're gonna go Activator Flute. They both ran under the Ropa. It is really cool to see as a viewer, but really dangerous as a runner. Just because in this case also looks like PH unfortunately took a little bit too close in order to the Snapdragon.
That was a bird hit.
Oh, it was a bird hit. Oh, jeez. Yeah, the three hearts of damage is very unfriendly.
Yeah.
Now, yeah. I mean, so the good news, I guess, at least for PH, is that taking even it is 3 hearts worth of damage on the overworld before we go Activator Flute and go into our second non-chronological dungeon, which is Thieves Town, it's not going to be the end of the world. We would like to have a bit more health, but if we go on let's say lower health, it really kind of affects just our survivability, but probably not by that much, just because of how experienced these guys are. It's more we care about, let's say, full health and specifically sword beams in later dungeons, let's say like Mire, maybe Swamp, maybe Ice Palace is kind of where it really starts to matter.
My mistake. It was the Snapdragon.
No worries, Checks. No, I mean, we have 4 screens. Everyone is running every direction, and the bird and the Snapdragon do 3 hearts of damage both, so it's all good. Talking about also using boots here, we are actually seeing probably one of the, I would say, quote-unquote, mandatory spin speeds of the game. If you only get one, try to get this one, because if you can't, we kind of already seen this case, CoinChaser is going to demonstrate, you can just basically sneak quickly right around that red guard, and if you don't have spin speed, it is very, very difficult to be able to not only escape that screen with time and not losing time, but also your health.
All right, nice
no.
Three Musketeers screen from Spleebie. That's a neat screen, and Spleebie is right on PH's heels. They're not racing each other, but Spleebie kind of zooms ahead.
Yeah, and in fact, actually, so we're actually looking at quite a contrast actually between PH and the other runners, right, in terms of health. So everyone, was very fortunate to not take any more overworld damage, which is really great, but PH unfortunately also took a hit from the 3 Musketeer screen as well. And so while that in itself, right, is not probably going to be a big deal in isolation, the fact that he also took 3 hearts of damage earlier on the overworld, and now he's coming to Thieves Town, it's... Ideally, we would actually really like to have that 1 heart, just because if we were on 5 hearts, most of the enemies here do 2 hearts of damage, so we're at least okay in terms of not, being able to, buffer and take a hit, right? But here, it definitely becomes a bit dicier. But as you're kind of observing earlier, Checks, PH and Spleebie very, very close together. Looks like actually CoinChaser and Matt are kind of in similar situations. CoinChaser is going to pick up his big key here relatively shortly. Matt is actually very, very closely behind.
Yeah, so PH is coming up to, I would say, the most dangerous part of this segment, Hellway. And it's RNG dependent quite a bit. Okay.
Oh,
solid
wow.
dash lines for PH.
Yeah, and it looks like, oh jeez. I was gonna say, he took in the more likely, he did not take damage in the more likely parts of the dungeon that he would take damage in, right? Because as you said, like this hallway, we're kind of seeing this on CoinChaser's side as well. It can actually be quite dangerous because of the RNG, of the spikes, and then unfortunately just kind of got nicked by that spike. So we're actually down to 3 hearts now. I don't know if you would be in PH's position if you would try and pick up an extra heart or 2, like on the pots. I'm not sure if you would do that in a race setting.
Maybe. Meanwhile, Matt got sandwiched in his Hellway attempt. So damage seemed almost unavoidable in that instance.
Yeah, and sometimes you just can't... however experienced you are, I mean, Matt is very, very good at being able to read the RNG. He's seen that screen lots of times, but sometimes you're just, they're going to be faced in situations where you just, unfortunately, have to just tank some of the hits. Okay, so kind of just as a PH and Spleebie are like screen for screen.
Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of the neat thing about a four-way race. Even though it's not possible to watch each runner so closely, we do get interesting pairings that appear.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, just as a friendly reminder, it is technically 2 different races, even though we are going to be able to, we are featuring 4 racers at once. It is Matt versus Spleebie in the Dark World division, and PH versus Coin Chaser in the Light World division.
Yes.
But I mean, I will say, I mean, these runners are still within a handful of seconds apart, even like the first and fourth places, let's say, quote unquote.
Right, and so we have the blind fight. Blind takes 3 hits in 3 phases each, and it should go the same way every time, except that it's hard to...
PH.
All right.
Okay,
not a problem.
Good. Yep, we're all good. So PH didn't quite follow the script to a T. It was maybe more like a, I don't know, a cursive T, maybe, but not maybe quite the exact one that we were expecting. Looks like PH actually, or not PH, Coin Chaser had something a bit more similar. We actually see blind on the upper right instead of the upper left. Meanwhile, though, Spleebie and Matt, I believe, both had blind on the upper left. But still, everyone got out relatively unscathed. We're going on, and we're gonna find arguably the best offensive weapon here very shortly.
And you're talking about the Tempered Sword.
I am talking about the Tempered Sword. It is a sight for Dark World eyes. Always, you're always very happy to be able to get that. It only costs you a paltry 10 rupees.
Yeah, it costs 10 rupees. It's a mini side quest where we just have to pick up a frog behind the rocks. And if we didn't pick it up, optimally we could get through the game through Ganon's Tower ahead of if we had skipped that. But we're not going to do that. We have to speed up the Ganon fight, and it makes bosses a lot faster and easier to deal with.
Yeah, and especially if you're going through a race, a PB run, especially as your time gets faster and faster, consistency and safety, mental comfort, and all those things combined go quite the long way with that Tempered Sword. Oh my gosh, it looks like actually like it's like PH and
wow,
are almost synced, right?
It's just a couple of frames off.
Yeah.
And the Tempered Sword will be it really shines in the next boss fight coming up against Mothula, where it can take essentially 3 hits, or 1 hit is duplicated, and it can take 2 more hits after that. Or it could go high. It could go haywire. It could.
It could. We're certainly gonna hope that it doesn't.
Right.
I don't think. I think for the record, I don't think I've seen Moth go into its enrage phase on Restream yet. I cannot promise it hasn't happened yet. But when Moth decides to try and charge you at super speed, it's you know he's mad, and the fight's probably not going as well as you'd hoped.
Right. I used to think of it as a rage phase, but it is really a long cycle of waiting to charge Link. It's pretty ridiculous. But it's kind of fun to like science it out and watch what Moth does.
Yeah, that is true. And I guess it's if for what it's worth, it also could be some good maybe like practice for yourself, right? Just being able to try and avoid the spikes, however long in this case the fight ends up lasting. Now, of course, this is probably kind of true in general for many boss fights. The faster you kill the boss, the easier it's going to be. It is definitely especially true for Mothula's arena.
don't know if it's good practice though, unless there's some upcoming Link to the Past hack that is all rooms are Mothula floors.
Oh, jeez. that sounds. Checks. Don't give anyone any ideas, okay? Looks like actually all 4 runners handling the easiest room in the game, giving it quite the nice namesake here. Being able to control the Gyptos and drag that extremely slow and clunky statue in order to get to the back. Right, though, with, I guess, a little movements here and there, actually, it looks like Spleebie has overtaken PH's spot in the leaderboard of this particular race, and he is going to, looks like, at least be the first to exit the back of Skull Woods and go on and face Mothula. But, I mean, Coin Chaser and Matt are certainly not far behind. Matt is just entering the back of Skull Woods here. He is only, basically, just a handful of screens behind. You can actually, I mean, this is kind of when, again, runs are made in the Dark World, right? Room for room, screen for screen. Matt,
Yeah.
I mean, Matt and Coin Chaser are basically just clawing their way back little by little.
Yeah, it's like I'm sort of entranced by how close these runners are, and we're about to see some like lead changes, perhaps.
Yeah. Oh.
Or maybe they'll be in sync the whole way. We'll see.
Yeah. And in fact, actually, right, kind of even see Spleebie versus PH going into Mothula relatively same time. Spleebie had a really nice back of Skull Woods with the fire rod, but then kind of got caught up getting the little key. Oh my gosh, though, what nice fights.
And PH had a bottom screen moth, which was pretty weird, but he dealt with it.
Yeah, but actually, look at this. So Matt and Coinchers are not racing each other. Spleebie and PH aren't racing each other, but we certainly got some nice syncing. Matt with a very, very nice fight. Almost basically a 9 out of 10. Coin Chaser actually taking a little bit longer on Mothula because you see a bunch more spike kind of moving on the screen. But this is how we're getting back on time.
Yeah, that's really cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
And next up is Ice Palace. So we've got a long overworld. We've got a dangerous dungeon. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, and talk about dangerous dungeons, talking about a dangerous overworld as well. So you remember those ropas that PH and Spleebie were able to run under? We're gonna have to chase those guys again, unfortunately. And there's a reason why sometimes, you know, winning the lottery is more cursed than blessed. You do not want to take 2 hearts of inadvertent damage for no reason.
Yeah, beams are pretty helpful. And a couple of key rooms. Or 3 even.
Yeah. Sword beams are really good. Oh my gosh, just like that. We talk about forget the Ropas. The red guard is just also in the same position. Matt takes a heart of damage. The good news for Matt, at least, is that it is very early damage, so there are going to be opportunities, and it's only 1 heart, right? So he can potentially make up some by picking up a rock, picking up a bush. There are going to be opportunities. It's kind of when you're hit by the Ropa, you're hit by the crab, you're hit by the Zora at the very end right before you enter Ice Palace, and you're really annoyed because you lose your sword beams.
Okay, so we see a different strat from Coin. The Louis Dash, as I like to call it.
Oh, he went up, huh? That's
Yep, and the other 3 went for the Ropa Lottery. The fast dash that has a chance of hitting Link. It tends to be 1 in 20 or so.
Is it really that high?
Yeah.
It feels a lot. I mean, it doesn't maybe sound like that high. You know, only what a 1 in 25% chance. But if you run this game hundreds of times, you're very annoyed when you lose 2 hearts of damage every, let's say, 20 runs or so.
Yeah, it is probably more often than that with imperfect movement and such.
Right. But this is actually pretty interesting, right? We actually kind of see some pretty, I would say, like higher differences, I guess, between times, but just with kind of better movement. I think the range between the 4 runners' times is actually kind of narrowing a bit.
Oh, I missed where Matt took damage.
He took damage on the red guard going into the Dark World.
Oh, that one. Yeah, I did see that.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, he hasn't quite gotten a replacement heart. He might try, like, as Spleebie kind of go into the Dark World. There's a rock there that has a potential getting a heart. Oh no, Spleebie! Oh no, PH!
Swimming's difficult.
Okay, you know what? Forget this. We need to go into the Waterfall Ferry to go get our fire shield. Okay, it's free. We can definitely block out the fire, the fire shooting Zora. Oh my gosh. Alright, Coin Chaser, please be our savior. Looks like he is going to be the only one out of the 4 to potentially have a full health and sword beams going into Ice Palace.
So, we have a solid run from PH right now. It is pretty good for PH's standards, and I wouldn't say standards, but just his PB. So
yeah, his
I
experience,
think,
right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And we can't really judge a runner's skill level by their PBs at this stage, I think. But PH is on a heck of a run right now.
Yeah. It's always really kind of exhilarating, right? And maybe a little bit nerve-wracking when you're on PB pace or really on PB pace, right? In a kind of more of a casual setting. But here, as you mentioned, PH is also racing. Probably even more nerves, right? And it's so easy to be able to say, maybe I'll slow down here just a little bit, so and just in case I don't die. Or if you're just really excited, you'd be like, well, I could probably spare a little bit of time here and there. I hope we also didn't curse him or anything like that, because this is his 3rd attempt here at Ice Palace Bomb Judge, just trying to get the lineup. But Spleebie, out of bombs, going to try and hover. Oh my gosh. Oh, Spleebie, deep breath. You can do this.
Yeah.
Oh no, Spleebie.
So Matt overtook Spleebie in that room, and the initial problem was Spleebie's bomb setup appeared to me to be 1 pixel too far to the right. So Spleebie fell on the bomb jump, and it looked good. The first hover was fine. He just didn't get through the room. So, yeah, this is Matt with a clear advantage at this point.
Mm-hmm. So I guess with no bombs, actually, I'm not even sure how. Like, so is he gonna? Do you think Spleebie's gonna try and farm a bomb from like one of the Stalfos, or?
No, Spleebie's fine hovering. He just had a bad time.
Okay.
Oh, Malmo makes a good point. Spleebie needs magic to get through, and you're right as well. He's farming. Oh, and he needs a bomb. That's right.
Oh, right.
To actually get through bombable floor. And I'm sorry I talked through the cold stare fight. We have Matt already through it. We've got PH and the coin approaching.
Yeah, Matt did his probably traditional 1 poke setup. Did a really nice job, as did Coin Chaser. PH's 3rd cold stare puff got a little bit farther away from him, but nothing so much of. It's definitely not too bad. But that was a really, really nice Ice Palace, though, on Matt's side, especially that cold stare fight. Definitely has his head kind of like back in the game. I mean, Matt's been playing very well throughout, especially especially considering that he did not have the best of time in Eastern Palace. Yeah, but all right, Spleebie nails the Ice Palace bomb jump this time around. Still has enough health in order to get through. We can actually see that Spleebie maybe taking a little bit of a deeper breath here and there just to kind of calm himself down. But Spleebie's got this 100%. By the way, yeah, we don't need magic anymore, and we just got a very fortunate Pengator drop. Okay, so out of Ice Palace, we go for Matt, Coin Chaser, and PH. We are potentially going to see a little bit more of a divergence or a runner's preference. In terms of where they decided to go next, we can actually see that Matt is on his way to Swamp, as is PH. A Coin Chaser is going up the mountain to get his Ether Medallion sooner rather than later. There are pros and cons to each different approach. Matt, I believe, and potentially also PH, would prefer that they no longer have to deal with spin speed for the remainder of the game after the Smith. And so we are going to go get the hook shot now, and then basically use hook speed instead of spin speed going up the mountain. Coin Chaser, on the other hand, probably values his health and his sword beams more often. Death Mountain is in fact a very dangerous place, so he's probably willing to do an extra spin speed up the mountain versus taking potentially some more damage going into some of the further dungeons of the game. Oh no, Spleebie though.
Tough death for Spleebie on Cold Stare.
That is a very unfortunate place to take a tumble, but Cold Stare is very cruel.
I saw that the puffs were separating pretty fast, and Spleebie unfortunately did not
Is this
handle it. Well, he can shoot the Freezor and then farm the rest.
From the Pen Gators, potentially.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, it looks like this Spleebie potentially influenced by the fact that he did get the very one small magic decanter from the pickle is going to at least enable them to, in this case, go further right into Ice Palace.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
The other option is to go to Swamp Palace.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and probably, as we're kind of done. No? Is that what happened? What happened?
Spleebie missed the full magic drop.
Oh no! Is that bomb gonna hit? Oh wow, okay, alright. Spleebie knows the bomb hitbox much better than we do. So
3 of our runners are in Swamp Palace, by the way.
Yeah, that is certainly true, and in various stages as well.
Yes, this is a palace known for a lot of annoying, damaging enemies. Not damaging like multiple hearts of damage, but a lot of them can damage Link because they just get in the way.
Yeah, to some extent, honestly, Swamp Palace actually does remind me a little bit of Escape, right? In Escape, now that we had, boots and much to do, there were just so many things that didn't really do too much damage to you. But man, when they get in your way, you have to slow down, detour, readjust. All of these little things just add up so much time. It's so much annoyance, right? Swamp Palace is just like the Dark World version of Escape, basically.
It is, and if you are Louis and you have endgame that begins, like a practice session that begins with Swamp, then the Swamp is the escape segment of the end game, Dark World. I didn't really say that correctly, but one way to practice the game is to split it up into sections. So some people might consider Swamp end game. Others might consider it part of mid game. All right, rematch for Spleebie. Gets the spin, and it still gets away from him a little bit, but he gets through it.
Yeah, looks like it, though. I mean, much safer, nicer fight than previous. The important part for Spleebie is that Cold Stare and Ice Palace is, now far behind him. He never has to go look back or come back to this place ever again.
Until next week.
Details, Jax. But that is future Spleebie's problem. That is certainly not present Spleebie's problem. Yeah, but so looks like though we are at least on our way over to, at least Matt is on his way over to Argus. PH is very closely behind. And of course, keep in mind that Coin Chaser, he does look like he is a little bit farther behind than everyone else. That he does have the Ether Medallion in his possession, which PH and Matt do not. And just like that, right? The Bari is there to demonstrate that it doesn't matter how colorful you are, he is always a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no checks. Don't. Okay. Note to everyone: do not make checks mad. It's a suddenly very scary place here in this commentary booth.
Well, Baris are the worst. I mean,
they are. It's
hard not to be angry.
Yeah, but you know what? Geez, we should just pretend all Baris are puffs on that side because holy cow, what an Argus fight! Very beautiful zero cycle Argus. It actually looked like Argus was actually kind of charging at Matt as well. So the fact that he was even be able to pull off the zero cycle where he was basically just right on top of the puffs and then getting, of course, very nice phase 2 is quite impressive. Looks like the PH is on his Argus fight. Not gonna quite go for the zero cycle. There is, and this is one of the benefits of having Temper Sword, right? You don't have to go for the absolute quick shot. It is a hook and slash method. The nice thing about Temper Sword versus the more, let's say, like more intended casual version of this fight with only the Master Sword is that the puffs only take 1 slash of damage in order to kill them for the Tempered versus 2 with the Master Sword.
PH saving frames by dragging Argus to the top of the screen.
Nice. Oh, right, because the crystal is different.
It's a way to deal with the screen if you don't go for the fire rod kill.
Oh, I see. Alright, Matt using that hook speed, just kind of doing a little bit of practice right before he decides to go up the mountain. Oh my gosh, these how did she... I don't know how Matt doesn't get hurt. Oh, almost gets away from the dead rock. Alright, we're gonna see in this case if Matt is able to successfully climb the mountain. He did. Unlike, he has learned his lessons from last week that the climbing the mountain and staying on top of the mountain is definitely the better way to go. Oh, he gets a very nice fairy refill right before he has to go into Mire.
Excellent.
Alright, PH, you actually can see just kind of a difference in technique and contrast. PH decides to, I believe he takes the point approach in that it doesn't matter where you are, you're not a subscriber to like Uber, like Share Ride or something. In order to you have to go to a certain location, you wait for the bird to come to you. Alright, you are the most important part of your travels. Don't have to accommodate anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, though, successfully has, well, at least, for the most part, we are at least out of the most dangerous parts of losing health, picking up the ice rod. There has been no crabs, there have been no grass guards, there have been no bombs. He just has to basically make it unscathed and into Mire, and then we are... Oh my gosh! Okay, everything's fine.
Out.
Everything's fine. We're just gonna go into Mire here with full health.
Alright, so Coin Chaser happens to be the first one to enter Mire. And I missed it. Did PH get Ice Rod here?
I don't believe he got Ice Rod.
Okay.
I guess to some extent also Coin Chaser also did not get Ice Rod, I believe, either.
No, Coin did not get it, right.
Okay. Yeah, alright. Confirmed in this case that
okay, gotcha.
PH, yes. This is one of the benefits about being able to watch the vanilla NMG run versus, let's say, randomizers, especially with the inclusion of quick swap being standard. Menus are definitely a thing in the vanilla speedrun. And of course, not only is menuing important, basically to know, in this case, how your menus look like, the fastest way in order to get from one item to another, it also sometimes potentially can help you in terms of rooms. We've actually seen, let's say, like Spleebie using the menu in order to switch from what I think like what was it, like to the book or something, or to the lamp outside of Desert Paths to kind of buffer himself in order to, so he doesn't necessarily run off from Desert. We're probably going to see maybe a menu buffer used right before we go into Argus to try to avoid the pits. It's actually really nice to be able to time it sometimes in order to just give yourself that just a little bit of extra space in order to make sure that you're still basically on track for your movement.
Matt looked like he was trying to shoo away the slug. That was a little scary, but he got through it.
Yeah, and so far, all of our runners here in Mire look relatively healthy. We are kind of to a point where Mire is the 6th chronological dungeon, right after Ice Palace, and it's kind of at this point, especially maybe even towards the end of Ice Palace, where the game turns up the difficulty notch even more, just because the prize for Ice Palace is the Blue Mail. Blue Mail is an extremely powerful defensive mechanism. It has basically all the regular damage the game does, and basically one fewer heart on boss fights. So the game is like, well, if everything used to do, let's say 2 to 3 hearts, let's do everything from 4 hearts plus. Spleebie, please, please
Yikes.
help, help, Spleebie. Okay, you know what? We're all very happy with the 2 spin. There are even, Boyne still does 2 spins. There is nothing wrong with doing 2 spins. I'm just very happy that Spleebie has survived Swamp Palace.
Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm. Shout outs to Sankart, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And Matt and Coin are neck and neck
in Mire going in, yeah.
Dungeon, which is so fun to see.
Yeah, we're actually going to see, in this case, both Matt and Coinchaser and PH kind of go in to face, at least for the basement of Mire, and then also Vitreous. And we're actually going to see, kind of important, just how basically keeping your health is kind of important, at least for fighting Vitreous. We actually already did see that the runners ended up taking, 3 intended hearts of damage in order to get the spike small key, which of course, that is going to be the fastest one if you have the health to handle it.
All right, so we have Spooky Action Glitch. I don't know if I should explain it, but basically our runners importantly can avoid going into a room with a crystal switch by hitting it with the area of effect of a fire rod shot from a screen below. So they use the fire rod 3 times and end up with 0 magic after the 3 shots, so they can't really miss any. And now we have Vitreous Fight, which is textbook for Matt.
Yeah, very, very nice. Coinchaser right far behind. PH actually also going through his own fights. Actually, wow. Yes, avoiding the lightning cycle. Very nicely timed.
A bit of a scary fight for PH, but he got through it fast.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I would say the most important part of any Vitreous fight is that we did not die to Vitreous. Alright, so I think at this point, Matt's going to be the first one, at least, out of the crystal cutscene with the ice rod in hand. I believe his final destination is upon himself, and he is going straight up to Turtle Rock. For a Coinchaser and PH, it is certainly recommended that they go pick up the ice rod before they head up the mountain. Let's hope that both of them actually do remember. It is never a great feeling to go into Turtle Rock without the ice rod.
You can say that again. And Matt has had trouble with Death Mountain throughout this run, but nothing hits him so far. got through the west side unscathed.
Mm-hmm.
Slashed a squirrel out of his way. He's zooming.
Oh yeah, he is ready to go. And again, we actually kind of see Matt, unfortunately, not having. He had a kind of a shaky, I would say, unfortunate, trying to get the big key in Eastern Palace. Almost, unfortunately, took a death there, but he has been doing quite well in the Dark World. Really has stepped up his game.
Yeah, just running against his own splits, he's been consistent all the way through.
Did Matt get the quick warp out of curiosity? I totally missed it.
Oh, I did not
I
take
know,
a look at that all-important quick warp.
It is also as supposedly the freest quick warp of the entire game.
Oh no, a total dead rock. No, it's not a dead rock block. What is happening?
Wow, PH is so PH has put so much time into his running. He knows exactly how to maneuver through the dead rocks.
He set up some drama for us.
Yeah. All right, coin chaser, second one entering. Oh my gosh, though. Well, you know what? He had PH, despite hitting some dead rocks and turning them purple, he has definitely not been stopped. Paused temporarily, but certainly not stopped.
Man, there's a lot to look at in this segment, so it's gonna be tough with 4 runners.
Yeah, looks like though, at least for the most part, all of our runners are going to Turtle Rock relatively healthy. We certainly want as much health as we can, but again, everything in Turtle Rock does, what, at least 3 hearts of damage? These Baris don't quite yet, but they're certainly getting there.
And our runners should have a fairy drop coming. There's Matt's already. And he's got beams available. Yeah, a good beam strat to get through chomps.
Yeah,
very nice.
Yeah, very well done on Matt's side. He read the RNG correctly. It looks like he actually couldn't really go on the left side. I had to kind of improvise, but yeah, the beam certainly did help in that particular situation using those iframes.
He went to the left side. No, I'm kidding this time.
Okay. my left and right, by the way, are very interchangeable. Just so you know.
I'm just hoping there are no birds in here to confuse me.
You know, actually, Chex, I don't think we've actually even seen the ceilings of Turtle Rock. Like, how high are they? Are they vaulted? You think
That's
they're
a good
like?
Question.
Yeah, you think they're just kind of domed though, because it looks like a giant turtle?
Right. So the highest, I would expect the highest ceiling in this interior to be in lava room.
Oh, excellent point. Yeah, that's true. It definitely still needs a lot of ventilation as well, right? You just look at that place and...
Yeah, it's a little, what do you say? A little steamy?
Perhaps? Yeah. little steamy, probably not necessarily the best place you want. Although it could be a potentially good spot to kind of wind down your day, maybe, cool off a bit. Warm up a bit, not sure. I guess it is winter.
Right, Matt, still with beams. Beams really speed up Crystal Roller Room as well.
Yeah, and just look at that. We can actually have more than enough time to even squeeze through the pegs before the roller comes through. Very, very nice. Oh no! Matt's going too fast for his own good. Doesn't quite get on the platform before it spawns.
Oh no. The Pokey gets away from Spleebie.
No.
It looked like he spun a little bit too low or too late.
Spacing? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's tough. So...
it's okay. We have the Poke Key. I have heard some runners refer to the Poke as the biggest jerk of the entire game.
And we have Coin, Crystal Roller Room using the block strat, going for iframes, a solid strat. Not the fastest, but it works.
Yeah.
And I missed the point at which Coin overtook PH in this race. So
I guess I'm also not quite sure as well.
Just
however though,
comment.
kind of looking at PH's health though versus Coin Chaser. Even though Coin Chaser is a little bit ahead, he does have a little bit shakier, potentially, health, or at least a facing down Trinex.
Yeah.
Alright, though, Matt, though, speaking of Trinex, on to his fight. Actually, looks pretty textbook so far. No damage, gonna just basically get a spin and a slash in. Using that menu buffer
good.
to kind of, yeah, adjust himself.
Alright, so Coin got through laser skip, no problem. The peg maze went a little haywire, but he got through it, and he's out of one-hit knockout mode.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it
that's
should be
probably
a relatively safe fight.
Yeah, that last heart pickup probably was very, very comforting again for Coin Chaser, just because everything here does 4 hearts of damage, so we really want to be just a sliver over that 4 heart threshold.
Alright, Coin scared me a little bit with some fire rod shots going astray, but he makes it into phase 2.
Yeah,
and Trinex is down.
Yeah, yeah. Alright, speaking of though, Matt has gotten through, finally, you know, after all this time, by the way, you know, so we tried to rescue Princess Zelda at the very beginning of the game, right? And we got to spend some very limited quality time with her before she was abruptly kidnapped and taken away from us. We saw her very briefly before having to go into Dark World, and finally, we have her final message that we saw in Turtle Rock. Finally get to fulfill everyone's wishes, and probably her final request is to defeat Ganon, so we're gonna go into Ganon's tower.
A little unclear to me when the maidens and Zelda are rescued from the crystals. Like, I don't know if they're rescued as soon as the boss is defeated, or when Ganon's tower opens, or
that's
after Ganon is defeated.
Yep. Because they basically just like we're seeing on Coin Chaser's screen, right? Zelda's still in her crystal. Like, when do they break out, right? And they're still used in this case for GT.
Yeah. Well, it's a mystery to solve for another day.
I was gonna say, this is gonna be one of those mysteries where I don't know if we'll ever get the answer to.
Alright, so Ganon's tower. We have a basement full of puzzles and difficult movement, and that will be followed by the tower, which is full of combat, and it is a fun segment, but very challenging. So we'll see what lies ahead.
Yeah, and we actually did see at least a sneak preview on Matt's side, and also looks like Coin Chaser is also going to reject the small key on the torch. It is, again, up to router's preference. Not going to be too much of a time difference in terms of getting that very easy, but probably arguably the slowest key in terms of time versus a more faster and aggressive key from either the mini helmets or upstairs, or in this case probably the one right before Moldorm. Now, of course, you know, maybe for say, you know, for people who are maybe just starting out, getting the torch key is by far the easiest, right? Just because, well, you know, there's the torch, you've got boots, you know how to use them because you've been using them for the past, like, let's say, hour and change. So it's very easy to be able to take that key. But if you're maybe on higher PB levels, you don't really want to give up a second for, if you don't have to. Yeah, very nice though. Basement on Matt's side, basically getting through. Matt is climbing the gauntlet with only 1 heart down. That is, I would say, quite impressive. Coin Chaser actually looking to be something very, very similar as well.
Matt is going up the tower. Mimics rooms are a couple of the most difficult rooms in the game to do optimally and without messing up.
Yeah.
And it looks good for Matt.
Yeah, looking good for Matt, especially that extra health, right? Really lets you, you know, so health, of course, not only, of course, is a mental comfort just because you don't have to Well, you're not in danger of dying all that much, but also was kind of seeing there are going to be faster strats that you can do with the extra health, like being able to take more damage in the spike room without probably any impunity. Yeah, and look at
I've
this.
heard Blaine say that getting Sank Heart makes him feel like he can play messier, which is a disadvantage because it just takes more time.
Oh. Well, Blaine does have a 123, so it's kind of hard to argue sometimes with that.
Yeah, another way to look at things.
Mm-hmm. Well, so Matt, we're just gonna play Ring Around the Rosie for a little bit. Just because we're gonna take an extra lap, right? Get our legs really kind of warmed up for the rest of the game. But otherwise, looking like a very pretty solid gauntlet. Coin Chaser, by the way, going up the gauntlet with full health, taking advantage of that, going through the faster version spikes. It looks like PH is actually going to go through something very similar as well. Some very nice GT basements, though, from our runners today.
We have Spleebie at Trine X. He's not out of the woods yet. He's at 4 hearts.
Yeah, but it looks like his fire rod shots have landed quite well. It's just going to, just a little bit of extra maneuvering to make sure he doesn't get hurt. He should be okay. Just so long as if he's really worried about the damage, he can maybe back off a little bit. But no, Spleebie is brave. He takes on Trinex head on, literally.
We have Coin in the gauntlet, looking solid.
Yeah, always kind of be able nice to combine the fire rod and arrows and everything else we kind of picked up along the way. Alright, let's see. PH also is making his way through GBZ. He is going to also start his gauntlet. Oh, almost makes it through the bridge. Alright, so Matt, I'm very fortunate in Turtle Rock to not have to pick up the 8 bomb pack. He gets a free swap / menu over one. He basically gets to get rid of all his bombs, so his menu is just, oh no, never mind. Stupid pegs. We just wanted the magic.
And we have PH into the gauntlet as well.
Yeah, I really like the arrow strat that PH does. Basically, just shoot an arrow, and then if the Zizak gets in the way, he gets kind of a taste of, what everyone's been trying to do to link the entire game is basically just stun him a little bit, so the PH can basically just take a nice clean dash down.
Interesting, Coin does not go for the dash to the right of the pot. I seem to remember that being a worry as well.
Mm. Oh no, this Landmos.
Okay, we've got Aghanim 2 for Matt. Nice setup for a triple to start with. And this is one of the most challenging bosses, along with Landmo.
Yeah, but Matt is crushing this Aga 2 fight. Holy cow.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah,
nice 3 cycle.
And Matt couldn't even get the 2 cycle because he goes just like Aga 1 decides to be a jerk, threw another blue ball at him for good measure. But Matt handled his Aga 2 fight very, very well. Oh no, Coin Chaser got knocked off by Moldorm. Oh. It's okay. The shaking of the head just is just further motivation to get through this fight. But Coin Chaser, and again, this is Coin Chaser is the one officially racing PH. Matt is the one officially racing Spleebie. We just happen to have, in this case, they decided to schedule the races at the same time. So Coin Chaser does have still a lead on a PH. So he just kind of has to keep his head together for the rest of the run. Now, of course, Matt into his Ganon fight. It looks like he actually did have a nice setup for the 1-in-1. Avoiding the fire bats. He does have plenty of health, so it's certainly not too much to worry about, but he is, of course, past the most dangerous phase of the fight.
Yeah, one thing I didn't notice about Coin was his pace has been really good. He had PB potential here, but I've seen a lot of head shaking in this Ganon's tower.
Yeah, that's also true.
And it looks like, he's falling behind a bit.
Right, now to be fair, Chucks, who doesn't shake their head in Ganon's tower?
Exactly. It is really difficult.
All right, looks like though, based on the fact that at least the right torch is lit and the fact that the left torch is also lit as well, looks like Matt did get torch glitch, so he is going to have plenty of time to get through the triples for every phase before he has to light another torch.
We have a similar situation for PH where he's been ahead, but he's losing a bit of time. So a bit ahead of his own best pace.
Oh, PB, yeah. Seeing the green splits could also be, very motivating, but also, especially if you're at the end game, it is difficult, and sometimes maybe nerves can get a little bit of the best of us. Speaking of, though, we have Matt going in, crossing, and claiming his Triforce. He's going to be the first of our 4 runners to win his race. GG's, Matt.
GG to Matt. And on Matt splits, it's a gold Ganon. I wonder if that is a real gold there.
It is. I believe it is not technically a real gold. Although, I guess we don't know exactly what the Ganon is. But these are... So he looks like he's using auto split, which I believe the last time he used auto split was pre-PB. So I don't know how really accurate these splits are.
And we had a death for Coin Chaser on Ganon. I missed what caused it. But that closes the gap. It closes the gap slightly, and PH is right on his tail. So we've got RNG. We've got.
Oh yeah, the warps are different, right?
Well, I mean, I don't think the RNG is going to be so bad that Coin will fall behind, but it's certainly he's not out of the woods here.
Yeah, and especially there are so phase 4 without silvers is definitely still definitely a thing.
Yeah, that's true. Phase 4 is difficult to do really well. And it takes a while to get comfortable with getting triples.
Yeah,
in every
especially
cycle.
Yeah, and every little thing at the end can still definitely make a difference, right? The blue Ganon means that Ganon is paused for a little bit, and for actually looks like a race that's actually pretty close here between Coin Chaser and PH. It certainly could make a bit of a difference.
And importantly, Coin gets torch glitch, so it's just phase 4. The damage is so scary because Link could just fall off.
Yeah, right. It's not. I think at this point, the scary part is taking the 2 hearts of damage because we got plenty of health. It's really the gigantic knockback of that fire bat.
Yeah, the knockback is always the opposite direction that Link is moving, which is a weird thing. All right, Coin takes down Ganon. So GG to Coin for finishing this race ahead of PH.
Yeah, looks like.
And it looks like he takes the win.
Yeah, definitely GG's Coin Chaser. Yeah, so Matt and Coin Chaser respectively have won their respective races, although PH has certainly made it quite close. Spleebie, though, with, I believe, the only hover here over the Molten
Let's go.
Gav. Very nicely done, Stevie.
And GG to PH for finishing this race.
Yeah, GG's PH. Yeah, we'd actually see in this case, looking at PH's personal splits, is not quite the PB in this case. It's a 129, looks like what, 51, and his PB is a 129.25. Certainly lost a little bit of time, in the end game for GT and Ganon, but I do believe that if you are, especially in a race setting, if you are within, let's say, like a minute or so of your PB, you're quite happy. Now, maybe not specifically for PH in that he is elated in that he was basically ahead through the entire time, but still, it's a very, very solid showing. Alright, though, looks like we have a Spleebie heading in to Ganon himself after Aghanim.
We have a Ganon fight for Spleebie. Solid phase 2. I like to think of Ganon as another practice session. You know, even if you know you've lost a race, a Ganon session is always good practice for your next race and for your next run that you don't want to lose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, the good part is, and this is also another, I would say, argument to try and finish out your runs, regardless of whatever disasters that may have fallen. I mean, it may not be as motivating, right? Let's say you died of Cold Stare, you died of Vitreous, you have a bad overworld or something, or maybe little things add up, such that you're now 1 minute behind. So you're not gonna get a PB, but there's no reason for you not to take, let's say, the actual, practice, right? Could be you could still get a gold. It also could be that you don't want to get sloppy, right? In this case, if you are going to, let's say, especially when you're on PB base, it's much more difficult in order to control the nerves.
Yeah, and you know, Spleebie he's encountering the same thing I've encountered, which is I try to go a little bit too high sometimes, and I miss the torch. But regardless, Spleebie finishes Ganon, and we'll be finishing the race.
Yeah.
So GG to all runners.
Yeah, GG's. This was actually, I think, quite the show. Excellent performances by everyone here involved. Matt, Coinchaser, Spleebie, and PH. I'm hoping in this case that hopefully everyone wants to come in and take a chat with us, maybe talk about the race a little bit as well.
Don't be shy. Join us in the commentators booth.
Okay, it looks like though we are at least joined by Matt and PH. GG's, guys.
Hey, GG's.
That was a rough start, Matt. What did you think about your run?
Oh, dude. Well, like, I don't know. I mean, obviously the Light World was disaster, but I actually had an okay Dark World. It was like a 55-40 Dark World. That's only like 25 seconds off of my best Dark World. So I guess I can be happy with that. But yeah, dude, that Eastern Palace Big Key room, like, I nicked the Popo going down, and then not only did like the right one go up and to the right, but the bottom one went like right up into the anti-fairies, and so everything I tried to do was just a mess. Then I was just like, oh, I'll just treat it as if I had a Moldorm fall. And then I fell to Moldorm. And I was like, oh no. And then I got 6 blue balls. And I was just like, well, we're going to have to get a 55 Dark World if you want to win this race.
Oh, man.
Okay. Thank you for telling us the number, because I did not attempt to count him.
I definitely threw 2. I got 15 blue balls through 2 races. I'm going to say that might be the leader in the clubhouse so far.
Yeah, your last week blue ball count was certainly not very friendly.
Oh man, that's rough.
And PH,
GG's, by the way.
PH, solid run for you.
Yeah, nice
that
job,
was
PH.
pretty exciting.
Oh Lord, that was honestly really, really disappointing, because that would have. So I started about 6 seconds late, so I had a 129.45, and that was probably one of the best gauntlets I've ever done. If I don't blow it in Molder or in Landmo 2 and Moldorm 2, that's probably a PB by like at least, I don't know. It might have been 128 if I hadn't messed both of those up.
Soon.
Hopefully. That was the Landmo 2 was really, because I was so happy with that gauntlet. That was a really, really, really good gauntlet after a pretty bad Turtle Rock. To still get that, I was pretty happy with, but it was hopefully entertaining for everyone, because it looks like, I'm assuming Coin and I probably swapped a little bit, unless he also had a fall or two.
Oh, I did have a Moldorm fall.
Oh, you did. So we both. Oh no.
Moldorm was a pretty scary experience for everyone.
I saw it coming. I was dead in the middle of it, and I tried to cut it off and get out of the way, and I couldn't. I was like, I'm gonna get frame rolled on this because I was going right through the middle of his head, and I tried to cut off the dash, and I screwed it up.
I think Spleebie was the only one who had the quote unquote best Moldorm luck, and that he just hovered away and he just left him behind.
Smart.
Nice.
Just don't bother.
That'll do it.
Yeah. Speaking of, though, we are also joined by CoinChaser and Spleebie. GG's, guys.
GG's.
And Coin, you had a hot pace. I did not notice throughout this run until Ganon's Tower. So what did you think of your run?
Oh, it would have been such a good run to PB on. I had such a bad Eastern to start, and then I had 5 blue balls, so I was like plus 50 going in, and then I just took away the time and had a really good Dark World, and I was minus 10 going into Turtle Rock, minus 4 after getting the big key to GT, and a pretty solid climb, and it really was that Moldorm fall that just added up so much time. And I was just mauling too much about that, and that's why I had the Ganon death. But I'm still very happy with this run.
Yeah, that can happen. Yeah, that got a little scary, but you pulled through in the race. So, GG.
Thank you.
And Spleebie, that was a rough Ice Palace, but you pulled through.
Yeah, 12-minute Ice Palace, no big deal.
Yeah, the kind of time. Yeah, that's the kind of time I would see in a bad Oko Ice Palace or a bad All Bosses Ice Palace. But yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, when I missed
any other highlights?
The first bomb jump, and I got the hover first try, and then I was just rushing it and wasn't paying attention to the fire bar, so it hit me into the hole.
Yeah,
and I couldn't get the hover again.
And do you know why you messed up the bomb jump? Because it looked like you were 1 pixel.
I was too far right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think I was too far down too. So it's fine.
Right. But what else about this run? Obviously that kind of consumed the identity of the run, but what else? Do you have any other thoughts on that?
I mean, other than that, I lost time in all the rest of the splits until GT and Ganon, but I don't know, I was 616 plus 616 after Ice and finished at 622, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
Matt, were you watching either like Restream or Spleebie's stream at all during this thing?
Yeah, so like once I checked first at like the flute cutscene, and at that point it was like a little closer than I thought it was going to be. And then I saw what happened to Spleebie at Nice Palace. I was actually a little bit distracted by PH's run because we were both in Mire at the same time, and I was like, "This dude's on a great pace right now." Because PH and I talked a little bit. I knew what his PB was, and I was like, kind of rooting for him. So I was checking in a little bit more because of that.
Oh yeah, nice.
Oh man, thank you. Yeah. Although I had not gotten the ice rod, I don't know if you had.
Yeah, I had the ice rod.
Probably.
But still, like it was still you had to be on quite a good pace in Mire.
Oh yeah, I was definitely probably if I have it was like I was minus 53 coming out of Mire.
Okay, yeah. So I was like, I think this guy's like a mid 129. Like this is like really good pace considering.
Yeah, no, it was definitely. I was super. Thank you, I appreciate that. I try not to look. So I look if I'm like last week. I looked once I blew it in Thievestown, but I was like clicking in to make a couple comments, but I didn't wait for the room to load, so it was only ever showing an ad, so I could never actually see where anybody was, so I had no idea how anyone was doing.
Oh no.
Well, no, it was intentional. I didn't want to because I wanted to just focus on my run.
Well, what ad was it that you watched for an hour and a half?
Uh,
I was wondering that too.
probably. Oh God, I don't even know. Whatever that. God of War, probably.
Oh right, yeah. Yeah, I was actually gonna say, both Coin and you guys, PH, like you finished your run, I think within like a minute of your PBs, right? That is, I mean, for a race, that is really good. So
Oh yeah, I mean, oh sorry, go ahead, Coin.
No. I was just gonna say no. I'm really happy with this. I mean, my Dark World was incredible. Like I said, this would have been such a great run to run against if I had PB'd off of this. But no, I completely agree. Like I just looking at the times, I'm seeing it just cutting slowly into the plus 30 or plus 40 that it was. So no, I'm very happy with this run.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome, dude.
I think we'll see a PB from you soon, Coin.
yeah, it definitely looks very promising.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was super stoked. I had for me a really good light world. If I had gotten, I think, one blue ball, I actually would have. So I've never had a sub 30, and I think if I'd had one blue ball, I think I would have gotten. It was pretty close. I was really happy. Like I don't know. So I don't know if you guys had any of that. Like that was a gold, even with falling in that in the last room there. That was still a gold Aga Tower for me. Which should tell you how bad my Aga Towers normally are. But so it was just like a really good. Honestly, it was actually a really, really solid run until ice was a little bit icy there, screwing up the bomb jump, which was not great. And then still, it was like kind of held together until TR wasn't great, and then just actually the GT was okay until upstairs. But yeah, no, I would take this honestly a sub 90 from like Matt said, like my PB is mid 129, so I'm 20 seconds off of it. You know what, in a race setting, that's really, really good. I'm super, super happy with this run.
And PH and Coin, is this your first time in a tournament setting for NMG? And also Spleebie as well. You were in Light World last season, right?
Yeah, I did too well in Light World.
Yeah, actually, right. You faced Shady, right, in the finals. Is that right?
I only lost to Shady in season 1, so that's
what you get.
Promoted me to Dark World, where I'm getting wrecked. So it's kind of expected.
Yes, this is my first time racing in NMG, and it's challenging. It's interesting because you got to stick with the run. It's so easy to reset, and it's like, nope, doesn't matter if you mess up double Igors. You got to stick with this.
Yeah, this is my first league / NMG tournament setting as well. It's super fun. It is definitely different because there were a couple of times when, honestly, when like on PB pace, there are a couple of different things where I might have been like a little bit more aggressive, but I was like, don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die. Which isn't necessarily a great mentality, but like picking up the heart going into blind, for example, like that was literally just what if I screw up, and then I screwed up.
There you go.
Also, I just wanted to add, like, so Coin, we've been kind of going back and forth. There was like a running joke for a bit that I wasn't allowed to PB until he did because I was following him around on PBs for a while. So I think I was just super pumped to race him because he's a really good dude, and this was super duper fun. We've gone back and forth a couple of times, but getting a chance to do it in a tournament setting like this with Spleebie and Matt, who are incredibly good, to really kind of pump up the excitement is so cool. So this has just been so much fun.
Yeah, it was so fun to watch. I was pretty much speechless with regard to everyone's performance compared to one another. I was just trying to catch moment to moment.
Yeah, no, I mean this was, I think there was lots of excitement for everyone involved. It's actually really kind of cool too, just to basically see like lead changes back and forth. Yeah, I mean, know that in terms of like PB separation, right? It's probably within 5 minutes, I think, between like Matt and PH. What sounds like a lot of time, but again, this is a race setting. Lots of things can happen, right? And again, as you mentioned, I think you said this, Coin, right? It's very easy to be able to reset if you, let's say, mess up, double Igors, any room, right? And this is one of those situations where, especially in like a PB a PB run, right? You didn't reset because everything has quote unquote like gone well for you, but in a race setting, you kind of get to see some maybe like little cracks, or sometimes reality is kind of set in, right? You sometimes just have to take some of the bad rooms because you can't really afford a reset. So it's actually really, I think, really cool to be able to see.
No, I actually completely agree with you. It's like one of the things I talk about with other people that run NMG. They're just like, oh, I didn't get a sub 6 minutes escape. And it's just like, dude, just keep going. You gotta pound out those runs. You'd be surprised. It's like, I understand you got a death. Just keep going. When you do those first like 10 or 15 runs, it's like it'll just be a time save when you PB with this run. And you just work on that consistency. So I agree with you. This is complete proof that with a couple of rooms that go bad, it's not worth resetting sometimes. You might as well just keep going because you can definitely still PB.
Yeah, just always a free gold for next time. Yeah, or even a PB for that matter too. And any other thoughts, I guess, between you guys? We have 2 more weeks of League left to go, so certainly best of luck to everyone going at least into the last 2 weeks of the Swiss.
I mean, the only thought that I have is thank you to obviously Clearmouse, you and Chex, as well as Star for putting this on with the league, because it just always makes me even more excited to see, because there's so many incredible like commentary focus, like people who do that's such a great job, and you're like, I'm super pumped to watch this back because I know how good both of you are at it. So really appreciate it.
Oh, Chex is great on the mic.
I'll echo that. GG's everybody, and thanks again for the stream and the commentary. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for commentating. It's interesting with NMG being able to like watch the restream and kind of follow along, listen to the commentary, versus racing rando, where you're kind of in a box by yourself. So it's really enjoyable, and thanks for doing it.
It's always really impressive to see you chat in the restream, Spleebie. I'm also very impressed if you can actually listen to the restream too. So you can do so much at once.
I have to put it on pretty low volume so I don't get the game audio very much. But
that's true.
I mean, there's plenty of time to type during Crystal Cutscenes.
I'm terrified to watch. I just want to focus on the game. I don't think I can do that. That sounds impressive to watch it as well.
Alright. Yeah, I think with that maybe we can also wrap things up. So thank you so much, Chex. I'm so glad we got to do this. We're back on commentary, and I want to say thank you so much to Coin, Matt, PH, and Spleebie. You guys, I mean, it's always a pleasure to be able to commentate for you guys, at least from my perspective. I don't necessarily want to speak for Chex, but thank you so much, Star, for basically being a restreamer.
Yeah, great race all.
Yeah, GG's to all 4 of you. Congrats to Matt and Coin Chaser for winning your respective races, and great race, PH and Spleebie. This was a fun one to watch. Lots of back and forth between all 4 of you. Thank you, of course, to Chex and Clearmouse for doing the commentary. Please go follow all 6 of these people over at their respective Twitch links linked in the chat. You can find them all there. Thank you to everyone in the chat for watching. Let's also check out the CSR schedule. We are done for the night here, but tomorrow we've got a couple things coming up. It looks like we've got at 1:30 p.m. we'll have a Breath of Wild 80% Tournament 2022 Losers Round 2 match between Flavia and Prahaha. Then at 10:30 p.m. Eastern we'll have a Zelda Keys Tournament semifinals between Just and Rerak. And then Friday we've got more Breath of Wild. We've got Skyward Sword Randomizer Season 2 Tournament. We've got Majora's Mask Rando. We've got some more Breath of the Wild. We've got the OTR, the Random Settings League of the OTR, Ocarina of Time Randomizer is starting up this week, so that'll be fun. And Chex over here himself will be racing on Friday, with plenty more to come over the weekend as always. Showcase races, weekly races, tournament races. If you want all the action, there is quite a lot of it to be had. In the meantime, though, that is going to be pretty much it here for us tonight. See. Who do we want to read? Sure. Let's go and raid over to Foxlisk, who is streaming some ALttP videos of himself. See how he's holding up, and see how he's doing. Thank you for watching, all. We'll see you next time.